Are you someone who cares deeply about people? Are you intentional? Are you someone who pays attention to details? And you've always been interested in healthcare in one way or the other? Then caregiving may be something for you. Reason is, more than ever, we are at that period in time where caregivers are really needed. And if you're in Nigeria, then caregivers are more needed than ever. Why did I say so? There are a number of reasons, but I'll begin with the first and the most obvious reason being the fact that most professionals have begun to leave the country, en masse. So there's that mass exodus that is happening. Professionals that are leaving are the millennials. Those are people between the ages of 40 and 50s. And these are children to those who are baby boomers, who are in the age range of 60s and above, and the silent generation who are in the age ranges of 80s and above. So that leaves a lot of these are elderly ones home alone, so to say. There are a number of people who are still privileged to have some relatives care for them, but there are those that, in all honesty, other than informal caregivers in the persons of house helps, who will do the best they can, and sometimes the best is nothing to write home about. These elderly people would really, really need the care of professional caregivers in years, even months to come, and as at now, a lot of people need them. Now, the professionals who had to leave the country, it is just the way the situation is. And I bet you, wherever they are, their heart grieves that their elderly ones are home without skilled personnel to be able to take care of their needs. That is where you, as a potential caregiver, comes in. Now, for those who are privileged to have relatives taking care of them, that is wonderful. But most people are also aware of the fact that individualism has crept into the African culture, into the Nigerian culture. Gone are those days where we have a lot of uncles and a lot of aunties and a lot of cousins. We still have them numerically, but relationally, most of us are beginning to lose that. So there are now a number of elderly people who should have extended grandchildren, if I can use that word, and extended sons and daughters, if I can use that word. But because this younger generation have adopted the individualistic lifestyle, nobody wants to take on, quote and unquote, the burden of an elderly person that is not directly their own parent. So that again makes a second point for why caregivers are needed in Nigeria more than ever. Now, the third one that may interest you is that caregiving is a profession of flexibility, so to say. Most places would run shifts that will allow you to combine, be it motherhood and your profession, be it a side hustle and your profession. So the flexibility allows you to combine a number of things. Then in its own right, caregiving can be described as a calling. It has to be that. That's why I asked that initial question of, are you intentional? Are you someone who pays attention to details? But most importantly, are you someone who loves people, who loves the elderly, who likes to sit and glean wisdom from the decades of experience? My people would say, if a young child has many new clothes, the child can never have as many old clothes as the elderly one. So the years of wisdom that these elderly ones have, there are some people who have the calling to just sit with it and glean with it. That is where you, the caregiver, will come in. If you're someone who is interested in a career like that, it's a calling. Then in some ways you have a kind of semi-independent work environment. What do I mean by that? If you are a teacher, chances are you're also working with a number of other teachers. You're working with, like, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 students. If you are a nurse, you're working with maybe about 10, 15 patients, and God help you, you may be working with like 30. If you work in a busy outpatient, then you're working with fellow colleagues, you're triaging with lab, you're triaging with the physician, with the health assistant. So there's a kind of teamwork in entirety that God help you that your team works as a team. If not, it can frustrate the efficiency of your work. Now, for someone who has the ability to work effectively individually, as an individual, you can really run the show and do a good job. Caregiving is something like that. That's what I mean by the semi-independence that it offers. While there's a home care team, you have the medical personnel who will probably come for home visitings required situations. There is the nurse practitioners who may come for home visits in situations that require such. But at the end of the day, it is you, the caregiver, you're the home keeper. I mean, you are the patient keeper, if I can use that word. So within the comfort of that patient's home, you are the one, quote unquote, who runs the show. So there's some form of independence that you can leverage on for someone who has the ability to be able to work effectively and do an awesome job of it. Then caregiving is a profession that is deeply appreciated, especially by the recipients, and in addition many times by the kids. Now picture what I just told you. Supposing I am that professional who has left this country, and then my mother is back at home alone, uncared for, and I'm lucky to find a caregiver who is doing the job conscientiously. I would forever be indebted to such a caregiver, and so will my mom. Now this appreciation goes beyond your pay. It is a gift that keeps giving, and still from that appreciation you're able to build some really solid and robust relationship with your elderly patient, who would many times even may come to see you as a child. But of course, professional boundaries, you still want to keep that in place. But in the heart of most of these elderly people, when you really care for them and care for them that way, they begin to see you as a child. So you build relationship with your client, you build relationship with the relatives. So you just have a very robust network of people who view you positively, which is also another reason to consider caregiving if it's something you ever want to think about. Now, the other reason is, with the advanced in healthcare, people are really beginning to age more than they would ordinarily have. I know African has been blessed with a long life, but that was when our parents were not the elites. That was when they were not the ones who sat in the office and did not have a lot of physical activities. Now, even those who sit in offices and were not so blessed as to do all of the physical exertions that the farmers would do, now they now have the advantage of a robust healthcare system that can keep them alive longer. So virtually everything that can be replaced now. Hips can be replaced, knees can be replaced, organs can be transplanted, such that for an individual who has the means and the resources, they have the opportunity to live as long as God will grace them. So if healthcare continues to get as wonderful as it is now, and people continue to live as long as they would live by projection, then the caregivers will still be much needed than they already do now. So another reason for you to give it a thought if it's something you want to do. Now, for someone who is considering, so how do we go about this? I had to put this up because there are a number of places where you can get certification for caregiving, but the institute runs a 6-month hybrid certification program where you have a 5-month self-paced online instruction within the comfort of your own home. So you can be a parent and tend to your kids while you do that. You can run your business and tend to your kids while you do that. Then there's a 1-month on-site where you then get the hands-on caregiving skills, such that you can effectively and efficiently be able to cater to the needs of any patient that you're blessed to care for. So if it's something you would ever give a thought to, just check the link in the description button, and then you can begin your application process. So I wish you a wonderful day. Bye.